Welcome to Highlight Your Healing. I'm Shannon Roan, grief coach and founder of J&J Journals. This podcast is for women navigating grief and learning how to heal with faith. And today, we're going to talk about boundaries, what they are, why they matter, and how they help protect your peace while you're healing. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves the same level of access to you in this season. And when you're healing, your peace is not up for debate. Why is setting boundaries so hard? I remember a time in my own healing when I felt guilty for saying no. I thought by me always saying yes to everyone, it would prove that I was kind or just a good person. But deep down, I was exhausted and I was neglecting my own self. But I kept showing up even when I was drained. I would answer text messages I didn't have the energy to respond to. I would show up to events when all I really wanted to do was just lay in bed. When I first started setting boundaries, it felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to disappoint anyone or want people to think I had switched up on them. Or, as people say, acting brand new. But the truth is, it was time for me to act brand new because grief changed me. Healing changed me too. And with that came a new awareness of what I was willing and not willing to carry anymore. See, those days of me feeling guilty for saying yes to and committing to what I wasn't ready for, or for saying yes to keeping the peace even when it cost me my own, those days were over. And here's what I learned. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. Boundaries are about honoring the space you need to recover. When you're healing, especially after loss, your energy is fragile and you're vulnerable during those times. Boundaries, they become kind of like guardrails that protect you during that whole process. And maybe for you, that means not answering every phone call. Or maybe it's skipping a family event because you're not emotionally ready yet. We all know how we go to, a family cookout and they're asking all of these questions. And you just may not be there yet emotionally to handle those conversations. So saying no to those family events is okay. And listen, you don't owe anyone an apology for protecting your peace. Healing requires space. It requires mental, emotional, and sometimes even physical space. You need that space to breathe, to rest, and to rediscover who you are after your loss. How do you know when you need a boundary? Here's an easy way to tell when you need a boundary. Start paying attention to where you feel resentment, or maybe exhaustion, or even anxiety. If your body tenses up when you see someone's name pop up on your phone, that's a clue you need a boundary. Or if you walk away from certain conversations with certain people and you're feeling depleted, that's another clue you need a boundary. Boundaries are not about choosing peace over pleasing. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, I don't have the capacity or the time for this right now. And the more you practice saying that, the easier it gets with time. But let's be real, not everybody's going to understand your boundaries. And to be quite honest, some people, they benefited from you having lack of boundaries. When you started saying no, some people will call you distant, or some people will say that you were acting brand new, and that's fine. That's part of your growth. Boundaries might cost you a few relationships, but they'll protect the right ones also. And eventually, you'll notice something. The peace that comes from having boundaries is worth more than the approval that you used to chase. So I want you to remember this. Boundaries aren't barriers. They're bridges to a healthier version of you. They give you permission to heal without guilt and to love people without losing yourself. If someone doesn't understand your boundaries right now, they'll see the fruit of them later, in your peace, in your joy, and in the way you show up more fully when you're ready. So let's recap what we talked about. Boundaries aren't selfish. They're necessary for your healing. Pay attention to what drains you. That's where a boundary belongs. Your peace is worth protecting. So I want to leave you with this question. Where in your life do you need to set or reinforce a boundary to protect your peace? Take a moment to think about it. Maybe it's a boundary with others, but maybe it's also a boundary with yourself. Whatever it looks like, honor it, protect it, because healing without boundaries is like building a house without doors. Anyone or anything can walk in and disrupt what God is restoring. So today, choose peace on purpose. Draw the line where it needs to be drawn, and trust that the right people, the ones meant for your healed self, will respect it. If today's episode spoke to you, take a moment to follow the podcast and leave a review. It helps another woman find this space and the hope she's been praying for.